A strange signal moved across the galaxy. It was full of fear, pain, and sadness. The message came again and again from a faraway planet. The voice was not human. It was alien. It said only one thing: "Help us, please. We are dying." But no one listened. The signal came from a planet called Zarnox. Zarnox was once a powerful place. The Zarnox people were tall, strong, and smart. They had big cities, flying towers, and great machines. Many other alien races feared them. But now, they were weak. Something dark had come. It was called the Void Swarm. No one knew where the swarm came from. It was not a normal enemy. It had no face, no leader, no ships. It was like black smoke filled with shark machines. It ate energy, light, and life. Planet by planet, it moved and destroyed. The Zarnox fought back, but they lost every time. Their weapons didn't work. Their shields fell. One by one, their cities died. In the end, they had no choice. They sent out a message for help to every corner of the galaxy. They begged, but the other alien empires ignored them. The Sailor, the Braktun, and the cold Mikran lords, they all heard the signal, and they all turned away. "Let the Zarnox fall," they said. "They were once proud. Now they are weak. It's not our fight." But on one small blue planet called Earth, someone heard the signal too. Her name was Raya. Raya was a young human scientist. She worked at the Earth Space Listening Station, deep in the mountains. Every day she listened to space noise, radio waves, messages, and strange signals. Most of them were boring. But then she heard it, a voice crying in the dark. "Help us, please. We are dying." At first, Raya thought it was a trick. Maybe a lost echo. Maybe an old signal. But when she listened closely, she heard something real. She heard fear. She heard truth. Raya stayed up all night, running the signal through her machines. She cleaned the sound. She followed its path. It came from a planet deep in the far reach, where humans had never gone. It matched a known alien world, Zarnox. She knew the Zarnox were important in galactic history. She also knew no one had heard from them in a long time. The next morning, Raya rushed to the Earth Council building. She wore no makeup, her hair messy, her hands shaking with excitement. "I found something," she said. Inside the big room, the Earth leaders sat around a large table. Generals, scientists, and old politicians listened as Raya played the signal. The voice echoed through the room. "Help us, please. We are dying." Silence followed. Then someone laughed. "Aliens always cry for help," one general said. "Let the stronger races deal with it." "They didn't ask us for help," another leader said. "We're new in space. We can't save them." "But no one else is helping," Raya said. "Maybe we can do something. We have ships. We have people. If we do nothing, they will die." A senior scientist stood up. "We cannot risk human lives for an alien race that never cared about us. It's not our problem." Raya looked at them all. Her voice was soft but strong. "But what if it was us? What if we were the ones begging for help?" No one answered her. The meeting ended. The council moved on. That night, Raya sat alone in her lab. Outside, the stars twinkled like silent watchers. She looked up at them and thought about the voice. "Help us." She could still hear it. Raya opened her computer and typed a message to 3 people she trusted: Zora, a skilled pilot; Tom, a smart engineer; and Igo, a medical expert. She told them everything. "I'm going," she said. "Even if no one else comes, I will not ignore that voice." One by one, the replies came. "I'm with you, Zara. Count me in, Tom. Let's save someone, Ivo." Raya smiled, but her heart was heavy. She didn't know what waited out there in space, but she knew one thing: they had to try. She walked to the window and looked up again. "I hear you," she whispered. "We're coming." One human ship leaves Earth, with a mission no one believes in. The world kept moving. People on Earth went to work, laughed, and lived their normal lives. No one talked about Zarnox. No one cared about the strange message in space. To most, it was just another story that didn't matter. But for Raya and her small team, everything had changed. They had made a choice. They were going. Inside a quiet spaceport, far from the city, a ship was being prepared. It wasn't a new ship. It was old, with scratches on the sides and dents in the metal. But it was strong. Its name was Hopebringer. Raya stood near the ship with her team. Zara, the pilot, was checking the controls. She had short black hair, sharp eyes, and a brave heart. She had flown in dangerous zones before, and nothing scared her, at least, not on the outside. Tom, the engineer, had grease on his hands and a smile on his face. He loved machines more than people, but he had a kind soul. "We'll keep her flying," he said, patting the ship. Ivo, the medic, was packing medical gear. He didn't say much, but when people were hurt, he worked like magic, calm, quick, and smart. Raya looked at them and said, "We are not heroes. We may fail, but we are the only ones who answered the call." They all nodded. No flags, no cheers, no goodbye crowds. Just 4 humans, and 1 mission. The Hopebringer launched into the stars. The journey was long. They passed through asteroid fields and empty space. There were moments of silence where nothing moved, and moments of fear when space storms shook the ship. One day, a warning signal appeared on their screen. A nearby ship sent a message. It was a Brakton scout vessel, a strong alien race with golden armor and red eyes. The message came through. "Turn back. The Zarnox are lost. The swarm will destroy you too." Zora looked at Raya. "Do we listen?" Raya answered, "No. We go on." They flew deeper into the far reach, a place where most human ships had never gone. Tom kept the engines running. He fixed wires, cooled systems, and even sang old songs to the ship. Ivo checked everyone's health. "We're all tired," he said one night, "but we're still standing." They talked about the Zarnox. Who were they, really? Were they like humans? Were they kind? Could they be trusted? Raya believed they were worth saving. I don't care if they were once proud or cold. Right now, they are crying for help. Finally, after days in deep space, they reached the Zarnox system. But what they saw was worse than any of them had imagined. The planet Zarnox was broken. The sky above it was not blue or black. It was filled with shadows. Dark clouds moved in strange ways. Pieces of metal and stone floated in space like silent ghosts. A huge space station near the planet was burning. Fires with no air flickered in the vacuum. There were no signals, no lights. "Did we come too late?" Ivo whispered. Raya scanned for life signs. "There are still some alive. Down there." Zara flew the ship closer, through thick clouds and falling debris. The Hopebringer shook, but she held on. They entered the atmosphere. Below, they saw the ruins of great cities. Buildings had fallen. Roads were cracked. Nothing looked alive. It was a world that had once been full of light, now covered in darkness. Suddenly, a warning came from the ship's system. "Enemy detected." A black swarm moved across the sky like a wave. It wasn't birds. It wasn't ships. It was the Void Swarm. Thousands of small dark machines flew together like smoke and teeth. They moved toward the Hopebringer fast. Zora shouted, "Hold tight." She flew between broken towers, dodging pieces of metal. The swarm chased them like hungry wolves. Lasers shot from the ship, burning parts of the swarm, but more kept coming. Tom yelled, "Engines are overheating." Ivo held onto the medical gear. "We can't crash." Raya found a signal, a safe zone deep under the planet's surface. "Go there," she shouted. Zora dived the ship toward the underground entrance. A metal door opened just in time. The Hopebringer flew inside, and the door closed behind them. Silence. They were safe, for now. Lights turned on inside the cave. Alien figures stepped forward. Tall, thin, with glowing eyes. They were the Zarnox survivors. One of them stepped forward. He had long scars on his face and wore dark armor. He looked at the humans and said, "You are not Zarnox. Why have you come?" Rhea stepped forward and said, "Because no one else did. The planet Zarnox is not just dying. It's being eaten alive." The inside of the underground base was cold and quiet. Strange lights moved across the walls. Machines hummed softly, keeping what little power was left. The air smelled like burned metal and dust. Rhea looked around. She had read about Zarnox in books. Once, it was a place of beauty, strength, and light. Now, it was a dark cave under a broken world. The Zarnox stood tall, even in pain. Their skin was dark silver. Their eyes glowed blue. Their faces showed no fear, but deep sadness. The leader of the group stepped forward. He was older, with lines on his face, and a strong voice. "I am Vectar, last war leader of Zarnox," he said. "Why have you come here, humans?" Rhea took a breath and answered, "We heard your call. No one else came, but we did." Vectar looked at her for a long moment. Then he spoke softly. "We did not expect humans. Your kind is young, weak." Tom stepped forward. "Maybe, but we're not cowards." Zora added, "We didn't come to talk. We came to help." For a moment, no one said anything. Then Vectar nodded. "Follow me," he said. They walked through the base. Along the walls, screens showed images of the planet above. Cities were ruined. Towers had fallen. Fires burned with no one to stop them. Rhea saw rooms filled with injured Zarnox. Young ones with burns, old ones barely breathing. Ivo rushed to help them. Even without knowing their biology, he used his skills to ease their pain. "These people don't need soldiers," Ivo whispered. "They need help." Vectar led the team to a control room. A large screen showed a map of the planet. Red marks blinked everywhere. Void swarm activity. "They came like a storm," Vectar said. "We tried to fight. Our weapons failed. Our shields broke. We lost billions." He pointed to the sky on the screen. "Now they feed on our world. They take our energy, our light, our life." Rhea asked, "Why are they doing this?" Vectar shook his head. "We do not know. They do not speak. They do not stop." Zora looked at the map. "You still have people alive. If we can move them, we can save them." Vectar stared at her. "Move them where? This planet is our home." Tom spoke up. "Then we fight back." Suddenly, an alarm rang through the base. Red lights flashed. A voice in the Zarnox language called out, "The swarm is here." Outside, the void swarm returned. Like a black river in the sky, it moved fast, and without mercy. It headed straight for the base. Vectar looked at the humans. "You should leave." "No," Rhea said. "We're not going anywhere." The humans ran to their ship. Inside the Hopebringer, Zara took the pilot's seat. Tom ran to the engine room. Ivo stayed with the injured. Rhea joined Vectar in the control room. Zora flew the ship out of the cave and into the burning sky. The swarm came. Thousands of black machines flew toward them. Some looked like insects, others like spinning blades, all of them deadly. Zora dodged and rolled. Lasers fired from the ship's sides. A few swarm bots exploded, but more kept coming. Tom shouted over the radio, "They're draining our power." Rhea looked at the energy readings. The swarm wasn't just attacking. They were feeding. "We need to stop them now," she said. She sent a message to Vectar. "Use your ground turrets. Target the swarm clusters." Inside the base, Vectar gave orders. Giant guns on the ground rose and fired into the sky. Explosions filled the air. Pieces of the swarm fell like ash. For the first time in weeks, the Zarnox pushed the swarm back. Zara flew over the city ruins, leading the swarm away from the base. Tom used a pulse bomb, sending out a shockwave that disabled many bots. After 10 long minutes, the swarm broke apart and disappeared into the clouds. Silence returned. Zara landed the ship near the base. The door opened. The team was tired, sweating, and covered in dust. Vector walked up to them. He looked at the smoke in the sky, then at the humans. "You saved us, even when we told you to leave," he said. Rhea answered, "We told you. We came to help." Vector nodded slowly. "Perhaps we were wrong about humans." He looked at the burned land around them. "There is one last chance, one hope left. A weapon, ancient, lost deep below the surface." Rhea's eyes widened. "A weapon that can stop the swarm." "Yes," Vector said, "but it is dangerous, and it needs something we do not have." "What?" she asked. Vector looked straight at her. "Human energy. The Zarnox hold a deadly secret. The weapon they need requires human power." The underground base was quiet now. The sound of the swarm's attack still echoed in the back of Rhea's mind. She stood with Vector, her mind racing with questions. The Zarnox had been saved for now, but for how long? The swarm would return. Vector looked at her. "There is one thing we can do," he said, "but it is dangerous. No one has used this weapon for thousands of years." Rhea's heart beat faster. "What kind of weapon?" "A weapon that can kill the swarm. Destroy them all. But it requires human energy." Rhea was confused. "What do you mean, human energy?" Vector pointed to the ground, to a dark door leading deep below the base. "It is hidden there. An ancient chamber, buried beneath the surface. The weapon is powerful, but to activate it, we need the energy from living humans. Your kind has something the Zarnox do not. Willpower. The power of your spirit. The strength to fight even when all seems lost." Rhea felt a cold chill run down her spine. "You want us to sacrifice ourselves for this weapon?" Vector shook his head. "No, not sacrifice. But your energy is needed to power the weapon. It will drain you, but it will not kill you." The others gathered around. Zara, Tom, and Ivo looked uneasy. Tom spoke up first. "It sounds risky. How do we know this will work?" Vector nodded gravely. "We do not know, but we have no choice. The swarm is coming back soon. We cannot survive another attack like the last one." Rhea turned to her team. They were all exhausted from the previous fight, but they knew what they had to do. Zara clenched her fists. "We'll do it. If it means saving everyone here, we'll do whatever it takes." Tom nodded. "I'm in. We came this far. No turning back now." Ivo looked at them all. "We're human. We're stronger than we think." Rhea smiled at her team. They had become more than just her crew. They were her family now. She turned back to Vector. "Show us the way." They walked down into the dark tunnels beneath the base. The walls were covered with strange symbols that glowed faintly in the dark. The air grew colder the deeper they went. After what felt like hours, they reached the heart of the chamber. It was enormous. In the center of the room stood a giant crystal, glowing with a pale blue light. It hummed with power, like the pulse of a heart. Rhea could feel the energy coming from it, alive and strong. "This is the weapon?" she asked, awe in her voice. Vector nodded. "It is called the Heart of Zarnox. It has the power to destroy the Void Swarm. But to awaken it, we need the energy of living beings, your energy." Rhea looked at the crystal. "How does it work?" Vector stepped forward and placed his hand on the crystal. "We must channel your energy into it. It will draw from you, not just your physical strength, but your will to fight. When you connect with it, the heart will become fully awake, and it will use your power to destroy the swarm." Rhea looked at her team again. They all nodded. "I'm ready," Rhea said. The team took their places around the crystal, hands outstretched toward it. Each of them closed their eyes, concentrating. The heart of Zarnox began to glow brighter, responding to their presence. A strange feeling washed over them. The air around them seemed to crackle. Rhea could feel the power building in the room, flowing into her team. It wasn't pain, but it wasn't easy either. It felt like something was tugging at her very soul, pulling out her energy, her strength. But she refused to let go. The crystal pulsed faster, and a low hum filled the room. Then suddenly, there was a blinding flash of light. Rhea opened her eyes. The room was different now. The crystal was glowing brighter than ever. It seemed alive, full of energy. And then, the sky outside lit up. A beam of light shot up from the base, piercing through the clouds, into the sky above. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. Rhea turned to Vektar. Did it work? He didn't answer. He was staring at the sky, his eyes wide with shock. The beam from the crystal wasn't just shining, it was pulling. Rhea felt something change in the air. The ground trembled. The walls shook. Something was coming. "It's them," Vektar whispered. "The swarm." From the sky, the void swarm descended. Thousands of black machines, flying like a storm. But this time, they weren't just attacking. They were drawn to the heart's power. The beam in the sky had become a magnet, pulling them closer. The Zarnox and humans gathered in the chamber, watching as the beam grew stronger. They had no choice now. The fight had come to them. The sky opened, and death came flying down. The ground shook. The sky burned red. The void swarm was coming, faster, stronger, and angrier than ever before. Above the planet, millions of dark machines moved like a wave. They screamed through the air, drawn to the power of the heart of Zarnox, the ancient weapon now glowing with human energy. Inside the underground base, alarms blared. Lights flashed red. Soldiers ran through tunnels. The Zarnox prepared for what could be their final stand. Rhea stood in the main chamber with her team. Zara, Tom, and Ivo, alongside Vektar and the remaining Zarnox warriors. She could feel the tension in the air, like a storm waiting to explode. "They're coming straight for the weapon," Tom said, checking the control panels. "They want to shut it down before we can use it," Zara added. Vektar nodded. "Then we must protect it at all costs." Rhea turned to him. "How much longer until the heart is fully charged?" 15 minutes, he said. "If we can hold the swarm back until then, we win. If we don't," Ivo asked, "then the heart dies. And so do we." The Hopebringer rose into the sky again, engines glowing, weapons armed. Zara was at the controls, flying like a starbird through a storm. Tom stayed inside the base, helping Zarnox engineers set up defense cannons powered by human tech. Ivo rushed to treat the wounded, keeping fighters alive long enough to return to battle. And Rhea, she stood at the top tower of the base, next to Vektar, watching the sky. The swarm arrived like a black storm cloud, swallowing the light. They flew in endless waves, spinning, slicing, and shooting. They had no faces, no fear, only hunger. Zara opened fire from the ship. Lasers tore through the swarm, blasting holes in the wave. But for every machine destroyed, 10 more came. On the ground, the Zarnox fired energy cannons. Huge towers shot beams of light, cutting through the sky like swords. The air was filled with fire, light, and death. "Don't let them reach the weapon," shouted Vektar. Rhea grabbed a blaster rifle and ran to the lower platform, where smaller bots were breaking through. She fought alongside Zarnox warriors, aiming carefully, her heart pounding like a drum. One of the swarm bots leaped at her, its blades spinning, but a Zarnox soldier jumped in front and took the hit. "No," Rhea cried, firing again and again. Inside the control room, Tom saw the power level rise. 10 more minutes. He yelled into the radio. But then, something changed. The swarm stopped. They didn't fall back. They didn't die. They merged. The small bots came together, forming something new, something bigger. In the sky, a giant creature was born. It had wings made of black metal and eyes glowing like fire. "What is that?" Zara asked from the ship, watching it rise. "The Swarm Queen," Vectar said through the radio. "We feared she was real. Now we know." The Swarm Queen dove toward the base, her body cutting through air like a blade. One hit from her claws tore through a defense tower. "We'll never hold her off for 10 minutes," a Zarnox warrior shouted. Rhea knew they needed to stop the Queen, or the heart would never reach full power. She radioed the team. "We attack the Queen together. It's our only chance." Zora flew the Hopebringer straight at the Queen. "Let's see if she can fly with holes in her wings." Tom activated the final turrets. "I'll give you everything I've got." Evo left the med bay and joined the front line. "If we go down, we go down fighting." The Hopebringer danced through the sky, dodging the Queen's attacks. Its lasers hit her again and again, burning parts of her wings, but she kept coming. Rhea and Vectar led a group of soldiers toward the highest platform. There, they had one last energy cannon. "We have one shot," Vectar said. "It must hit the core." The Queen flew lower, heading straight for the heart of Zarnox. Rhea aimed the cannon. Her hands shook. The Queen roared. Time slowed. Then she fired. A beam of light, brighter than the sun, shot through the air and struck the Queen in the chest. There was silence. Then the Queen screamed, her body breaking apart, the sky filling with burning black pieces. The swarm began to fall. One by one, they shut down, crashing to the ground, lifeless. Inside the base, the heart of Zarnox reached full power. It pulsed once, twice. Then a massive wave of blue energy exploded from the planet, wiping out every last bit of the swarm in space. The war was over. The sky was clear now. The ground was quiet. The Zarnox stood in silence, watching the stars. Rhea dropped her weapon and fell to her knees. She was shaking, exhausted, but alive. Vectar walked over and helped her stand. "You saved our world." "No," she said. "We did. The war is over, but the galaxy will never be the same." The sky above the planet was calm now. No more black clouds. No more machines. The void swarm was gone. All across the Zarnox world, the people came out of hiding. They looked to the sky, unsure if it was really over. But it was. The heart of Zarnox had destroyed the swarm with one final pulse of pure energy, powered by human strength and human hope. Rhea stood on a high tower, watching the sunrise. It was the first peaceful morning the Zarnox had seen in years. Her team joined her, Zara, Tom, and Ivo. They were tired, bruised, and quiet, but they were alive. Zara smiled, looking out at the golden sky. "We actually did it." Tom sat on a broken wall, laughing softly. "We should be dead 10 times over." Ivo nodded. "But we're not. We're still here." Rhea didn't say anything at first. She just looked at the light. She felt different now. She had come here alone, with only a signal and a feeling in her heart. Now, everything had changed. "We were the only ones who listened," she said, "and we made a difference." Later that day, the great hall of the Zarnox was filled with warriors, leaders, and citizens. They all stood as Vectar walked to the center. His body still showed scars from battle, but his voice was strong. "Many cycles ago, we sent a call for help," he said. "The galaxy turned its back. We were alone, forgotten." He turned to Rhea and her team. But the humans answered. Not because they were the strongest, not because they had great power, but because they cared. The room was silent. Even the youngest Zarnox listened closely. "They gave us more than help. They gave us hope. They reminded us that courage can come from the smallest places, that sometimes kindness is the greatest weapon. Vector raised his hand. From this day forward, the humans will be known as Friends of the Zarnox. And this team, they are heroes. The crowd erupted in cheers. A chant began, soft at first, then louder. Humans, humans, humans. Rhea felt her chest tighten. She wasn't used to praise, but in that moment she felt proud. Not for herself, but for what they had done together. After the ceremony, Vector walked with Rhea through the gardens near the heart of Zarnox. The weapon had gone silent again, now resting deep beneath the surface. Its job was done. "You have changed us," Vector said. "You've changed us too," Rhea replied. He looked at the stars. "What will you do now?" "I don't know," Rhea said. "Earth still doesn't know what we did. They still think the signal was a waste of time." "Will you tell them?" She smiled. "I will. And maybe next time, when someone calls for help, Earth will answer faster." Vector nodded. "And if your people ever need us, we will come." Rhea looked at him. "Even if the rest of the galaxy turns away." He put a hand on her shoulder. "Especially then." The Hopebringer was ready for launch. The ship had been repaired and restocked. It was time to go home. Rhea stood by the entrance ramp, saying goodbye to the Zarnox who had become their friends. "Don't forget us," said one young warrior. "Never," Rhea said with a smile. Zura carried a small Zarnox flower, a gift from the local children. "I'm planting this on Earth." Tom shook hands with the engineers who helped him. "Next time you need a crazy machine fixed, you know who to call." Evo hugged one of the medics. "Thank you for showing us that even alien medicine can have heart." As the crew boarded the ship, Vector gave Rhea a final gift, a small cube glowing with soft light. "This is a piece of the heart," he said. "Keep it close. It carries our energy. And our promise." Rhea held the cube in her hand. It was warm. Alive. "Thank you." The Hopebringer lifted off. As they rose into space, they looked down at the Zarnox world. Green and bright again. A planet saved by a team no one believed in. Rhea sat in the command chair, watching the stars ahead. "We answered a call that no one else did," she said. Zura smiled. "And we'll do it again if we have to." "Yeah," Tom said. "Next time the galaxy needs a little human heart, we'll be there." Evo nodded. "We're not just travelers anymore. We're guardians." The stars stretched ahead like a road of light. Rhea leaned back, the small glowing cube in her pocket. "Let's go home." The end.